This is Channing Chase, and I played Dot Campbell on Mad Men. That's Peter Campbell's mother. And I'm here today talking to Mr. Media. Oh, yes.
Today on Mr. Media, I'll talk to Mad Men actress Channing Chase, who played Pete Campbell's strong-willed but rather loopy mother on the AMC series. Stick around. If it's still possible to rescue her from Manolo's clutches, you know I'll try. So much media, so little time. Who keeps track of it all? That would be me. This is Bob Andelman, and this is a Mr. Media interview, brought to you by Amazon.com, Audible.com, and 1-800-DIAL-DJs. Please stop by the website, MrMedia.com, click on our advertisers, support the show. And remember, there's more than 1,000 interviews available at MrMedia.com. We've been doing this since February 2007. Hope you'll find something you like. And thanks for listening. Mr. Media is recorded live before a studio audience of Madison Avenue advertising executives enjoying their free fall from black and white to Technicolor in the new media capital of the world, St. Petersburg, Florida.
Ah, I didn't know that.
When last we heard of Pete Campbell's mother, Dorothy, the increasingly senile senior had run away with her Latin lover, Manolo, and had likely been a victim of foul play at sea. It was seemingly an unfortunate end for the character and the actress who played her, Channing Chase, but probably not an unexpected result for anyone connected with Pete, whose personal demons may actually exceed those of the show's lead character, Don Draper. It's been a tough life for spoiled rich boy Pete, whose dad also perished on the series, and who, after his wife discovered his infidelities, was thrown out on his ass. And of course, nobody at the office much likes Pete, so he's probably not going to get much sympathy there for all of that. As for Channing Chase, my guest today, you might have recognized her for film roles in Evan Almighty with Steve Carrell or Charlie Wilson's War with Tom Hanks. She's perhaps best known, though, for her TV roles on ER, Life with Bonnie, Home Improvement, Family Matters, and Cold Case. Now, sounds pretty good, right?
Yes, you've done your homework.
Well, while it doesn't look so good for Dorothy Campbell's return to Mad Men in the 7th and final season, the show's extensive use of flashbacks mean anything could happen, right? You know.
We don't know. We never know. But my fantasy is that John Hamm takes up sailing to combat his alcoholism. He just happens to be floating by, and he picks me up, and we sail into the sunset.
I have a feeling, Ms. Chase, that you're probably not the only actress on the show who's had a similar fantasy about Don Draper.
Oh, yes, John Hamm is very appealing.
Well, welcome to the show, and congratulations on leaving an absolutely indelible mark on Season 6.
Oh, thank you. The role is a role of a lifetime. I'm really thrilled to be playing Dot Campbell. What happens to her, Matthew Weiner is the only man who knows.
Well, I want to come back to that. I want to build up to a little bit to what may or may not go on in the future. But I'm really interested to know how you got involved in this show. It's it's a very special show, and it's a very special role.
Well, I auditioned for the part, and the show hadn't ever been on the air before, so I auditioned for the pilot, and I thought it was wonderful writing, but nobody knows what's going to happen to it. Who knew that it would be such a tremendous hit as it is? And I just am very grateful to be on the show. When I first read the script, I said, Oh, I know this woman. I know who Dot Campbell is because I'm from back east. And I construed that she probably went to finishing school, Madeira School for Girls, perhaps, Vassar College, and she met her husband right as she graduated, and she never worked. She went from her home to her own home in marriage with her husband, and had a couple of children, two sons, and her life is really a charmed life.
Even now, it seems like it's charmed in her own mind. It may not be so in reality, but
You mean with Manolo?
yeah. Well, wait. Let's come back. Let's hold off on that a little bit longer. So,
Okay.
you auditioned for the pilot. Obviously, you got the role. Now, as I recall, there was about a year that passed, right, between doing the pilot and the show actually beginning or being picked up.
Yes, I don't recall whether there was a big brouhaha over the pilot, but oops,
Chimes.
yes, Avon calling. I think that's it.
Yeah.
But in any event, where were we with Dorothy?
Oh, now
Oh,
don't play Dorothy.
we had no idea that it would be the tremendous hit that it turned out to be.
Were you anticipating after shooting the pilot that it would be a recurring role, or did you think at that time it might just be a one-time?
You never know. I've had a lot of one-shot deals where you did the pilot, the pilot never was sold. But AMC picked up the pilot because it fit their format. It was a period, in their eyes, it's a period piece because it's set in the heyday of Madison Avenue and the advertising industry. And it fit right into their schedule. And so on it went. And this is the 6th season.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get. I'm just thinking that Pete's life, almost more than, with the exception of Don Draper, I think we've learned more about Pete's life and his family, which of course has meant more opportunity for the supporting cast around Pete over these 6 years. Is that safe to say? Would you agree?
Yes. So, well, he's a major character, although Pete is not likable. He's very arrogant.
Yeah.
He doesn't really charm people at all. He's very uptight. And I think that the executive producer and head writer, Matthew Weiner, has had fun working with that character.
He's got that sense of entitlement, and
Yes.
we've never actually gotten a sense that he's very good at his job. He seems to keep rising, but it seems to me like a lot of Hollywood executives who they rise on failure somehow. They never seem to succeed, but their career keeps rising. Now, we don't want to mention anyone in particular. I don't want to keep you from a job, but
Yes. But that's a testament to the fabulous actor that Vincent Kartheiser is, because he's a very likable, sweet guy in real life who just got engaged to Alexis Bledel.
Mhm.
And he's just filled with his new romance and love for this woman in real life. And when you see him on the show, it's hard to believe that they're the same person. He's so good at what he does.
Well, and I was going to ask you about that because, yeah, it's so easy to hate Pete that,
Oh,
you know,
yes.
my wife and I talk about this all the time. Could he be anything but that character? But apparently he's anything but that character.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And how, I always kind of wonder about this. Now, when an actor comes onto a show that's been long running in a guest role, they just come on once. I've read a lot of people who've said, yeah, it's kind of hard to come onto the show and be, you're an outsider and you're not treated so well. But you, as a recurring cast member, particularly because you're this character's mother, I'm hoping that your treatment is very different.
Well, it was very unusual what happened to my character and to me. Um, After the first two seasons, the man who played my husband, Christopher Allport, died in real life. He died in a skiing accident, in an avalanche. And all the scripts had been written. The two of us were going to take the other in-laws out to dinner and always stick them with the check. And all of those scripts went out the window because Christopher died. But his death was dealt with on the show, but not in the way that he did die. In the show, he dies in an airplane crash. And so that put me out of commission for a few seasons. But this season they brought me back in a lot of episodes.
Yeah, all right, so let's talk about this season.
Yes.
You come back, and Dorothy Campbell's dealing with some dementia, and she has good moments and bad moments. The bad moments are incredible.
Well, she completely doesn't remember things. She's really on the road to dementia. But then Pete hires a male nurse to care for her. And this male nurse, whose name is Manolo, I fall for him. And I imagine, in my imagination, I'm having an affair with him. And this is true love, a love that I never imagined could happen to me again. And so it's an interesting aspect to the character because you don't see love interests for the mothers of characters.
True.
In many series. But here I am, in love again.
And one of the best moments of the season, I thought, was when you, as Dorothy Campbell, sit down, not with Pete, but with Peggy, yes. Elizabeth Moss's character, yes. And you explain to her what's going on in your life, and she's yes. she's like fascinated and aghast at the same time.
Right. She realizes by the end of the scene that I have mistaken her for someone else, but mistaken her for my daughter-in-law. But I tell Peggy about how I feel so in love again, and I never thought it would happen to me. And I go into quite a few details.
Yeah, exactly.
About the relationship.
Well, and that whole scene was so great because, of course, the viewers know. I mean, Dorothy Campbell doesn't know that Pete and Peggy had an affair in the first season. They have a baby.
Even mention a child,
right?
and she's so shocked that I know.
Right. Because Pete barely acknowledges.
Oh yes, it's very kept under the table.
Yeah.
That event, but she had a fling with Pete in the earlier episodes of the show, and had a child by him, and her own sister raised the child.
Right.
So Peggy is shocked that I know about this child, but I'm really talking about my own family.
It was great. I remember sitting on the couch when that happened, and my wife and I watched the show religiously and have from the beginning, and we looked at each other like our jaws were on the floor as Dorothy is saying these things to Peggy, and it's like, oh my God, how does she know? Pete doesn't even seem to know. I mean, he knows, but he doesn't acknowledge it.
There's acknowledge it. No.
Yeah, I mean, that was just great. Did you have were there other that was certainly my favorite moment, probably of the whole season, except maybe the final scene in the final episode with Don. But were there other moments that you really were fond of during this season?
Well, I loved the last episode that I was in, episode 6. I had the most gorgeous mink coat, and my mink coat had an assistant that was so worried about this priceless period mink coat. And I go to Pete's office because I want my passport, because I tell him I'm going on a voyage. And Pete doesn't put the two together. He doesn't realize that I'm going off with Manolo. But when he finds out, he's so upset. He said, "I told you not to have anything more to do with this man." But I can't help myself.
Now, do you have a sense, either personally or from Matthew Weiner, that there was anything actually going on between Dorothy and Manolo, or was it all in her mind? Because there's some indication, we get some indication, because I guess she's such a great storyteller, that maybe there's some truth to it, but...
Oh, I think that Manolo really works her. He knows that she has a lot of money, and he is like the superb Latin lover. Kisses my hand, treats me like I'm gold, and the way he's very courtly, sort of old school courtly toward me. So I don't know how much physical contact they've had, actually.
Okay.
In my mind, fair. My demented mind.
It's funny because the scenes and the talk of Dorothy and Manolo seem to me like they would fit on the soap opera that Don's wife is actually on. They seem very soap opera-like,
That's so true.
I don't know. How much did you know going into the season about Dorothy's arc, and how much, because of the immense secrecy on the show with Matthew, and and when do you actually find out, if you didn't know much at the start of the season, when do you actually find out going into each episode what's ahead?
Well, you find out at the table read, which is all the actors get together and read the script. And I didn't even know that my husband had died. And there I am, I'm starting to read the script, and I realize, oh my goodness, the character is dead. And then I realize, oh my goodness, he is really dead. And Matthew Weiner does that. He keeps everybody in suspense. Nobody really knows. I'll say, well, we'll see you next year. And this character, Ted Chow, who is a new character on the show, when the two advertising firms merged, he became part of the regular script. And he is in love with Elizabeth Moss, with the Peggy character. But unfortunately, he happens to be married.
Damn. Damn those marriages.
Happens. Yes. But I was talking to him about next season, and he said, I don't know. None of us know. But it keeps the spontaneity in the show, you have to admit.
Oh, you have to come back and see what's going to happen.
Yes. And so Matthew doesn't want anybody to know, and he makes us, he's a very kind man, but he's very firm about not allowing us to say anything about the storyline.
And so you, as you said, you didn't know that Christopher Allport had that his character was completely out. I mean, they could have recast it. It's not like
exactly.
It could have been recast. And then you come to the end of the season, and you weren't in the final episode of the season, were you?
No.
No, I didn't think so.
I was talked about more than anybody else, but I
Right.
wasn't physically there.
And I know because my wife and I discussed the episodes,
Uh,
ad infinitum, ad nauseum, if you will. And I remember thinking that, as they go into the final season, well, did Dorothy, go overboard on the cruise because, at the last minute he was thinking, well, it's the last season. I need to start tying things up and making it neater and having fewer characters, or is he, or maybe he's creating something where he can dramatically bring her back and resolve the whole Manolo issue.
yes, nobody knows. Nobody knows but Matthew. And there's so many, this script is so beautifully written. You can take things a number of ways. You can say, oh well, I actually do marry Manolo. We go to the Philippines and we get married, and whether I come back, it says in the script that I'm lost at sea. Lost at sea can mean a lot of things.
Sure, I've seen Gilligan's Island, haven't you?
Yes.
Plus, maybe Manolo comes back first as Pete's father.
We have no idea.
But Channing, most importantly,
Yes.
what does all this mean for Bob Benson? That's really what's important here.
Oh, well, who knows? Who knows? But he's a very good friend of Manolo.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
Very good friend.
exactly.
I think that Manolo probably, as they say, swings both ways.
Yeah, and you would think, actually, in terms of what's happened in real life just in the last week, if they advance the show 30 some years, maybe Manolo comes back as Pete's stepdad and marries Bob Benson, and then Bob Benson, instead of coming on to Pete, is Pete's other stepdad.
Oh, you have a rich imagination.
Yeah, no. Now, so I am curious just to ask you about the Bob Benson thing. Offline, there's been a lot of chatter this season about Bob Benson. What is Bob Benson? Who is Bob Benson? Why is he still in every scene? And
Yes, and he comes on to Pete.
yeah,
And Pete is horrified.
yeah, he is, which is great. It makes great theater. Did you have any sense of discussion about Bob on the set, or was that stuff that developed, among the fans as the season rolled on? Or
Well, Bob Benson is a Matthew Weiner's creation, and so he's going to do with him what he will.
yeah,
And it can be taken so many different ways. What is going to happen to Bob? I mean, he speaks fluent Spanish to Manolo when Manolo gets on the phone, and they have an argument en Espanol.
Mm-hmm.
So you wonder, are they an item behind the scenes? We don't know. But that's the beauty of the script, that it can be taken so many different ways. And you end up, as you say, you and your wife discuss the show after. And I find myself doing the same thing, discussing the possibilities of the future for these characters.
well, so I'm going to guess, since obviously you don't know one way or the other, that you'd
Yeah.
like to return.
Oh, of course. It's my dream job, because it's the one show that I have done that there are no divas. Everybody is pulling 125% for everybody else. There is nobody who pulls rank and acts as if, well, I'm the hotshot on the show. Nobody is like that. Everybody is just, it's really like one big family.
Very good. So what else? What else have you got going on at this point?
Well, I just shot a film called A Christmas Miracle. So of course, that when that's going to come out.
Yeah.
And I play the society editor of a newspaper, and I'm having a fling with the editor of the newspaper, who's played by Paul Dooley, the actor.
Oh, yeah.
And Paul doesn't want anybody in the office to know about this romance, so he's always coming up and asking me to take a work lunch with him. And everybody in the office knows we're dating, but he's trying to keep it under the table. And finally, at the big Christmas party, he proposes.
I see.
Yes. I hope I'm not telling too many secrets.
Now, is it a comedy or a drama, or?
Well, it's what I call a dramedy.
Okay.
It's both. It's amusing and fun, but it's also dramatic because the main character is a young lady who is bringing up her son because her husband has been killed, and she's a very serious person and probably still grieving, and she ends up elated and having a relationship with one of the new reporters. So it has romance, it has fun, it has a marriage proposal. It has everything. It's a charming script, really.
And is that for a theatrical release or television, or?
No, it's for it's called an independent film.
Got it.
And so it will be released at Christmas time.
Of 2013.
Yes.
Okay, great.
Uh-huh.
Very nice. Well, folks, listen, you can see the delightful Channing Chase in episodes from season 6 of Mad Men. And if you missed any of them from this season, I checked. They're still on the AMC site. You can go there and watch them for free. AMCTV.com/madmen will take you there. And then, actually, they have all 6 seasons up. You can see it there. Of course, you can go out and buy the DVD if you must, but they are you can watch them for free there. And then watch for her this Christmas in The Christmas Miracle with Paul Dooley.
Yes. And you can also mention that I'm nominated for an Emmy for Mad Men for the episode Man with a Plan.
Oh, congratulations. I didn't realize that. That's wonderful.
It is.
Well,
it is.
Well, you'll have to come back after the Emmys and talk to us.
Oh, I'd love to.
That would be great. That would be very good. And are you, are you online at all? Is there a website? Are you on Facebook or Twitter or any of those kind of things?
Oh, yes, I'm on Facebook.
All right. So people can find you as Channing Chase?
Yes.
Okay. Very good.
Of course.
Well, Ms. Chase, it was delightful to talk to you. We really enjoyed you on the show this season. Hope that Matthew finds a way to bring you back. And thanks for joining us, Mr. Media, today.
Oh, it was my pleasure.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. You can see and hear almost 1,000 Mr. Media interviews by visiting our main site, mrmedia.com, mrmedia.com. Or check out the more than 200 video interviews on the Mr. Media radio site on YouTube. And I'd sure appreciate if you'd show some love for Mr. Media's advertisers, including Stitcher. Apple named Stitcher a top 5 news app of 2011. It's a free mobile app for your smartphone or tablet that lets you listen to your favorite shows and discover the best of news, entertainment, and sports on demand. You can listen whenever you want to more than 5,000 shows, get customized recommendations, and discover what your friends are listening to. My own list of Stitcher favorites is pretty eclectic. I start my day with an hour of MSNBC's Morning Joe with Joe Scarborough and Mika Brzezinski. Then it's the latest 2-minute update from the Onion News Network. After that, I'll listen to WTF with Mark Maron, Here's the Thing with Alec Baldwin, HBO's Real Time with Bill Maher, and excerpts from E's Chelsea Lately and The Soup with Joel McHale. Also in regular rotation on my Stitcher playlist, the BS Report with ESPN's Bill Simmons, the TechCrunch headlines, and the Don Geronimo Show. The latest episodes of each show, whether originating from broadcasts, cable TV, radio syndication, or podcasts, are continuously updated. Stitcher is a free app for your iPhone, iPad, Kindle, Fire, BlackBerry, Droid, and more. And show your support of Mr. Media by getting, did I mention it's free? The app at Stitcher.com/Mr. Media. That's Stitcher.com/MR Media. Stitcher Smart Radio, the smarter way to listen to radio. We're also supported by Audible. Check out Audible's 30-day trial membership and download the audiobook version of the book everyone's been talking about, 50 Shades of Grey by E.L. James. Sign up for your free trial today at audible.com/radio. Again, audibletrial.com/radio. And finally, if you need a disc jockey for a wedding, bar mitzvah, corporate event, or just a big old party, please consider calling 1-800-DIAL-DJs, the party authority for all your party entertainment needs. You can call 1-800-DIAL-DJs or go to their website, 1-800-DIAL-DJs.com, and tell them Mr. Media sent you. And thanks for listening.
Wonder what makes us, the Smurfs, so happy? The forest, of course! This is where we, along with the beautiful forest creatures, make our home with beautiful plant life, clean water, and endless adventures. It's a place to celebrate. So discover the forest with your family today. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a forest near you.
Today's episode of Mr. Media Interviews is brought to you by GoDaddy.com. You know GoDaddy.com from their wild and sexy commercials, but isn't it time you actually test drove their web hosting and domain registration services yourself? For a limited time, Mr. Media listeners can save 10% on the already low price of web hosting services at GoDaddy.com by entering the promo code POD4 at checkout. Again, that's 10% off web hosting when you go to GoDaddy.com and enter the promo code POD4, that's P-O-D, the number 4, at checkout.